It's time for another episode of the Callie Chronicles. I'm going to give you some little updates real quick before we get started. Number one, the gimbal that I'm using to film the tracks, and you'll see it used in this video, you saw it in the last video, will no longer be used. It has become such a hassle, technical glitches and this and other things, that I decided to get rid of it for tracking, because anytime a piece of equipment affects my ability to track, and this one was starting to do that, I don't want to use it anymore. If something better comes along, or I find something better in the future, then I'll implement it again. But for now, we're going back to just the standard chesty mount camera, so it'll be a little jumpy. So that's that update. The other update is from here out, because it is getting so busy with calls, I will only show either recovery tracks or recovery tracks that have some type of significance where we can really learn something from it. Right now, that's not the case. I have a recovery track to show you, but there's nothing extraordinary about it. And then all the non-recoveries, I will still touch base on those and kind of give you a little rundown of them, but I won't go into the effort and all the time spent to edit and create maps for it. We'll just discuss those. So, y'all ready for the next track? Here we go. So the hunter shot, that's like that show where I wrote a song about it, like, here you go. Anyway, hunter shot a deer, and he was pretty sure he hit it in the liver. Deer went out into the field, embedded down about 75, 80 yards or something like that, away from him. And he saw that the deer was alive. It was just laid down like a deer bedded down. It got dark. The hunter slipped out of there, slipped out in front of his stand to try and find the arrow and some blood. He did recover his arrow, but he also bumped the deer, or at least he thought he did. He heard the beans moving. He thought a deer went away from him. Talking to a friend of his, the friend suggested he get a dog out there. Well, the hunter called me up and explained the situation and asked my thoughts on it. And this is what I told him. I cannot convince you to bring a dog out there. You know, it's easy for me because I own a dog. If I ran into that situation, I'd just take the dog out the next morning to have it as, as insurance. But here are the possible, this is the possible dilemma you have. If you did indeed bump that deer, and you're likely not going to have a great blood trail, you're probably going to need a dog. There's a good chance that deer's still out in the field if you didn't bump it, if you heard another deer run off and not the deer you shot. And so then you may spend some money that you otherwise didn't have to. Now, some trackers don't charge anything. They just take tips, or they do it for free. I know one guy won't even accept tips. And then some trackers charge, a few $100. I don't charge much at all, about enough to fill up my truck with gas. That's about it. Anyway, if you don't call me or arrange for me to be there the next morning, and I get calls from other people to track, I may be 2 hours away and not able to take your track the next morning if you go out there and you can't find your deer and now you want me out there. So you have to basically make that decision. Do you want a dog on standby or out there to go ahead and run the track? And that's what he did.
So this is where we're at right here.
Okay.
And this is where we're going.
Yep.
This is where I was sitting.
Yep.
And I shot him right here. Last time I saw him, he was right about here, maybe 100 yards.
And did you see him bed down, or you just
saw him lay down?
Okay.
I never lost sight of him.
Okay.
And then when I went into the field and got the arrow, I thought the arrow looked good. But, I had all this bright light on and such, and it didn't smell. I couldn't smell a real odor.
Yeah, I don't smell anything.
I know. I thought the arrow looked great. I was going to walk out when I saw him lie down.
Yeah.
But then when I got the arrow, I'm like, I'll just walk over there. So I walked kind of over here, and then I walked up to where I thought I would pick up some blood on the brown beans.
Yeah.
Never saw anything. And then I thought I maybe heard him a couple times.
Okay.
So
And was it getting dark at that point?
it was dark. So
Okay.
now I was I had my headlamp on and another highlight flashlight, But I never caught sight of him after that. But any noise that I heard was going this way.
And this is beans too?
This
or-
is all beans.
Okay,
It's
and
wide
I'm
open.
like, well, this is
We
not
don't have much to go through
yeah,
here.
so, I mean, even if we can't track it the traditional way, I'm sure she could win this and no problem.
Yeah.
So I
So
think it's a very recoverable deer.
Yeah.
Even if you bumped it. I'm gonna guess it's in here
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, like right in these cedars is where.
If it's not still there, you may have bumped
not-
a different deer that came out in the dark that
Sure.
slipped out of here and then heard you or
Sure.
saw you.
So I went about this far,
Yeah.
and then I went out.
All right. And so where did the deer you said again? You thought saw? So you were pretty close to where you thought it would lay down.
Yeah. I mean, he laid down only 80 to 100 yards from
Okay.
me. He would have been right about in here. And then he ran that way.
It looks like right here.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering if that.
Find it, girl. And he ran which way? Let's, okay, let's just see where she takes me. I'll see if she gets lucky and just takes us right to it. Where you going, girl? It didn't run back this way, did it? Can you hear me? Come here, girl.
It may have ran over there, but it ended up over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's just trying to follow a different deer. Come here, girl. Callie, come. All right. You smell something? What you smell, girl? She smells something. She's throwing her nose up. What you smell, girl?
We got blood right here, if that'll help at all.
If I need to bring her back, but you think the deer's farther left than where we're at right now?
I thought, yes, a little farther left.
You'd be incorrect. She just took me to the deer.
I think he's got it.
She was following it. I could tell by her posture and the way she was throwing her head up. She was smelling something, so that's why I wanted to let her go. Get it, girl. Yeah, it looks like a liver shot.
That's right.
Like I
Better
told you.
safe than sorry.
Ooh, I like the color of those antlers.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That's the exit one.
Hey, stop that. He's probably getting this mounted. Chew on this back here. We're gonna cut this deer open and see what organs it hit, and I'll post the results in the video. I'm not gonna show the actual guts because YouTube will kill the video, so you just have to take my word for it. So yes, indeed, it was a straight liver shot. When we inspected the deer, cut it open, we did not see any damage to the lungs. We didn't see any damage to the stomach. It almost looked like the arrow went straight through the liver. And you know the liver sits up like this and it's not very thick. I mean, it just a perfect straight through the liver. And that's probably why the deer went down so quick. And it probably expired not long after the shot, being that that it went through the liver and did so much damage to it. Sometimes liver shots take hours, 6 hours or more, but in some cases they take 15, 20 minutes for it to bleed out. Anyway, let's hop on to the next track. This one here was a non-recovery. It was a high back shot. Didn't have a whole lot of hopes of finding this deer. And I try to put those thoughts in the back of my mind. I run these tracks when the hunter wants me to, like there's a dead deer at the end of the trail. And so I put Callie on it. And it was, the deer was shot that morning. I was there that evening. So it was over 12-hour-old track, which Callie shouldn't have any issues with it. But she seemed to struggle on this one to stay on the track. And we know this because she turned off and we found blood farther up the trail. So we knew she had turned off the track. So I restarted her and she branched out past that last blood and went, multiple ways. She finally seemed to act like she was tracking, went past last blood again, and went a long ways to a marsh. Based on the distance we covered, the amount of area we covered, the hunter decided that maybe it wasn't a lethal shot, maybe it was just backstrap hit. He didn't get a full pass through, it was limited penetration. So that's what we ruled it as. Now, during the track, we had a little incident with a skunk. And if you've ever smelled a skunk, let me rephrase it. If you've ever smelled a roadkill skunk, the odor as you're driving down the highway, and you've never smelled a skunk up close that's sprayed near you, you don't know what a skunk smells like. It is 1,000 times worse than roadkill smell skunk. It is like sulfuric acid. I can't talk very well this morning. It's early. We had a long day of tracking yesterday. And you can probably tell my voice is a little scratchy from talking a lot. But anyway, that aside, it is 1,000 times worse than roadkill skunk smell. It's like sulfuric acid. It burns your eyes, your nose. You do not want to experience this. And Callie took a spray right in the mouth. And I'm gonna just warn you, if you got a weak stomach for someone that's about to vomit, you don't want to watch this. But I thought it was pretty comical after the fact. At the time, it wasn't funny at all. But I'll end the episode with this little scene, and then we'll see you guys, I guess, on the next episode as soon as I can get it edited. So, see you guys next time. She just hit something that excited her a lot. I want to see what she's doing.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's a skunk. You okay, girl? Come on over here. Oh my God, that's awful. Come on, girl. Ugh. I think that was a skunk, whatever it is. God, it's awful. It doesn't even smell like a skunk, it's just worse. It was burning my throat and making me dry heave. It's like mustard gas or something. You okay? Come here. God. Oh, girl. You got it right in the mouth, didn't you? Look at her foaming at the mouth.